Peace and love. I hope all is well. I'm going to do a Sunday Soul session. It's a reading I haven't done in a long time. So let's go ahead and get started. It's nice to be back here on my channel. Thank you for those who are watching my videos and liking. Thank you for those who have subscribed. I'm honored that you're here with me, and I'm grateful for it. It encourages me to come on here and do videos, so thank you. I hope everything's been well with you, your healing, your growth. Let's see where we are. And I tend to like to use these for the soul session, the Osho Zen. And I have the ring light up, sorry, but if you can see that. And then the Tao Oracle, both by Ma Deva Padma. Ma Deva Padma. All right. Thank you, Spirit. Thankful to be here. Thankful to relay your messages. What message do you have today for us, Spirit, for our healing, for our movement forward? Where are we right now with our soul's growth, with our ascension, with our spiritual work? Where do you need us to be? Thank you, angels. Thank you, Most High, for life. Thank you, angels, for guidance and protection. Thank you, ancestors, for your strength, your love, and your never-ending support, your spiritual energy. Thank you, higher self, for your awareness. I give thanks for life. Thank you for being here with me, sending you love, healing, and blessings on your journey, your healing, your spiritual path, spiritual work, and purpose. Thank you. The inner truth. And on this card we have the wisdom of the heart, insight, clarity, purity, intuitive knowing, consciousness, and penetrating illusion. So Spirit says that you already see, you already know, you already have an understanding. And then we have youthful folly. Impulsiveness, immaturity, bluffing, ignorance, learning, impatience, reckless behavior. We need to take ourselves seriously, take our gifts seriously, and take our work seriously. On the bottom, we have pushing upward, steady progress, gaining confidence, accepting challenges, a promotion, receiving recognition. And sometimes we can't wait to receive recognitions, friends. Sometimes we have to continue to do the work. Sometimes we won't receive recognition, but we have to continue to do the work. We still have to take ourselves seriously. We still have to take our spiritual path seriously. Thank you, angels. What messages do you have for us today? We're on the right path, though, with this pushing upward card. No matter where we've been, no matter what we've gone through, no matter the circumstances, the trials, we're pushing through them. Awareness that comes out again. Control. And compromise. And on the bottom we have conditioning. Ready to break free from the chains here. Ready to remove yourself from the sheep. Ready to allow your wild side to shine, to thrive. Moving against the crowd. Moving in your full power. Moving against the wishes of others in some cases. Some of us are being bound by situations here, the lion. You talk about that a lot, if you can see it. Bound by relationships, bound by old ideas, bound by religious constraints, bound by jobs that don't fulfill us, bound, just many different things being held in place. The thing about this lion too, it's held in place, but the sheep, they know it's powerful, right? So they're afraid of it. And so that's the kind of the thing too, when you're on the spiritual path and you're working your spiritual purpose and you're working with that strength and that power, you have a certain type of energy about you that people might not feel comfortable with, right? And so in order to maintain that comfortable stance, or that comfort, that level of comfort, they want to keep you in place. They want to keep you in place so that they feel comfortable. Spirit is saying that you are aware here of the inner truth. The awareness is there. Where you need to go, what you need to do, the insights. Because we're pushing upward, we know that we're already on the path. Coming out of the shadow here with this energy. This mushroom card here is like a shadow energy to me. Things that take time. Things that happen slowly. Things that happen while others aren't watching. While others weren't watching, you were able to harness your spiritual gifts and bring about an awareness of who you are. Control, compromise. Maybe the work that you're doing or the path that you're on, the vision isn't as clear as you thought it would be. The direction isn't as open, or the map hasn't opened its way up to you where you can see the exact way to go. This way, left, north, south, east, or west, that type of thing. Spirit is saying to release that control of wanting to know every single thing, of wanting to have all the answers. And bring in a sense of compromise where you're allowing things to happen in a natural way. We talk about divine timing. It's something about this energy of control, this tightness. You hold your body in a tight stance. It'll keep the spiritual energies from being able to penetrate and to move through you and to move you. We talk about on this channel the idea of having a light body energy, or being light as a feather. That means you're able to be picked up spiritually. You're able to be moved by spirit, by your guides, right? If you are in a controlled stance, if you're rigid in body, if you're rigid in thought, rigid thinking, rigid ideas, rigid ideas of what you see for yourself, there's no movement in that, and spirit can't come into that energy and move you forward. Spirit can't penetrate those energies. They become really harsh. You restrict yourself. So there's a level of compromise that has to happen between the hard and the soft. Sometimes that hardness is needed in life. We can't always just wander and just float around just like that. We have to have some stability. Our feet need to be on the ground. That groundation is important, being grounded. But it's a compromise between having that light energy and having that groundedness. But not groundedness to the point of being rigid, right? We're moving away from that. When we're on that spiritual journey, when we're on our spiritual path, when we're moving in our purpose, we're moving away from those rigid energies because we want to start working with our guides. We want to start working with our ancestors, right? It's almost like this youthful folly is negative in a way, but when doing this type of work, when working towards higher level knowledge, when working towards spiritual development and strength, you have to have a little bit of youthful folly here. It's like a playfulness here. They're leaning more towards the negative, which it can be. But I see it more as a positive thing here. That youthful folly. Being able to enjoy the lightness of life. Being able to laugh at things if they go wrong. Being able to say, okay, let me start over again, and not weighing yourself down with negativity and weighing yourself down with what am I going to do and how I'm going to do this with all the critical thinking of it all. Just allowing that childlike energy to present itself and to move the spirit forward. Trusting in that part of ourselves that's always been there, that childlike energy. That's the energy that we want to bring forth to move forward with our purpose. Dancing, singing, playing, running, going to the park, whatever, getting in the water, playing with your pets, your animals, taking your dog off for a walk, throwing a frisbee, I don't know, looking at the birds. We talk about that a lot. Whatever it is for you that can bring out that childlike energy, where we can start to shed and release some of that heaviness and those burdens put on us from life. That's the only way the pushing upward would happen, right? If you have bricks on top of you, concrete on top of you, obviously resilience, you have certain flowers like the dandelion that's able to grow through concrete. So sometimes even with circumstances being, rough, we still have the ability to push through. But how about we remove some of that heaviness? What can we do? What can we do to remove some of that heaviness off our spirits and to bring about a light body energy? Help the spiritual energies help us, The world is designed to control. Situations are designed to control. So when you decide to move on a spiritual path, you're already saying that I'm no longer in a position, or you're moving out of the position of being controlled. You no longer have the desire to be controlled by the ideas of others, controlled by what this person thinks you should have, what this person thinks you should do, right? You want to allow your spirit body, your higher self to take over. That's the trust. That's the full knowledge. That's the understanding. Nobody else understands the work that you need to do here more than you, right? So it's an uphill battle because we're going against these energies. These are the energies that are present in life. This is what we are fighting against. This is the Monday through Friday. This is the mundane part of it all. This is the 9 to 5. This is that type of energy. But even with the 9 to 5 energy, even with those type of jobs and that rigidity of life, there's still that space to implement spiritual knowing, spiritual understanding, and spiritual movement. I don't care what you're doing throughout the day. It all can be made spiritual if you want to make it that way, if you choose to make it that way. The energies are ready to assist you no matter what your circumstances, no matter what you're doing. It requires patience here. Knowing that things won't happen exactly when we want them to. They might not happen a year from now, 2, 3 years from now. The physical result might not happen, right? But the spiritual result is always happening. It's ever happening. The transformation of the soul, the transformation of the spiritual energies, the transformation of the energies around you, the people that you're dealing with, the transformations of the energies with your ancestors, your spirit guides. Those things, the subtle energies that are actually really more powerful than we think. They're actually the powerful energies that we've reduced to being subtle, or that we've reduced to being less important than the physical entrapments of life. We've placed that above it all. And that's the conditioning, right? It's hard to get out of that. Even for me, I'm a practitioner and I work on this and I think about this. But even for me, it's hard balancing that spiritual life with that physical life and the things that we need now, right? Because we need to pay bills and we need to have an understanding what we're doing and where we're going, right? It's a rarity that you can live your life just wandering about with no direction. We have families to take care of. We have jobs to go to. So balancing that spiritual life with the worldly life requirements, moving out of the conditioning that is 90% part of that life, molding it and making it our own, making it our own vision, creating our vision within the vision. Right? It takes patience. But let's not get confused by the physical entrapments versus the spiritual gifts. Those are two different things. One leads to further conditioning, one leads to further rigidity, and one leads to freedom. Two different types of energies, two different types of rewards. Turning in. I like this card here. This person is in deep meditation. You have all the spiritual energies here around them. But some of them look pleasant and some of them don't. But the idea with this is, you know who you are. You know who you are more than I know, more than anybody else would know. So in order to get to what you need to get to, you have to go within. It's no other way. You have to spend time getting to know yourself. You have to spend time sitting with yourself in peacefulness and quietness. That's where the patience is. If you're doing this energy here, then you have no choice but to be patient, because you're working with yourself. You're being kind to yourself. You're knowing that you're not going to come through any type of hardship or get to any type of spiritual revelation overnight. These things take time. So that patience should be automatic when you're on a spiritual path, even though it's still hard. It's not easy, but it's necessary. This was also on the bottom. The same thing with that turning in. It says keeping still. Meditation, self-renewal, composure, detachment, self-acceptance, equanimity, serenity. So that idea of detachment is important. Being detached from the outcome. What do you visualize and what do you see? This is the outcome. Remove it. Being detached from the outcome and allowing the spiritual energy, allowing the spirit to come in and move it in a way that it needs to be moved in order for the purpose to be fulfilled in the way that it needs to be fulfilled, right? Opening that up. Opening it up instead of being tight like this, right? Taking care of the body here with a self-renewal. Removing yourself from negative entities and people who would speak negative thoughts into your mind. Doubts, fears. These are the things that we're contending with. That's why you have to turn in. Things won't work out. It's not a good idea. I'm going the wrong direction. This person, has it out for me. This person is doing that. They don't understand me. They don't understand my mission. They don't know what I'm doing. They don't like me. They don't, remove it from them and just bring it into you, turning inward. We can't please everybody, right? And we're not here to do that. We're here to do our spiritual work. That's it. Spirit says, whatever you do it with enthusiasm. Even still, with the turning in and the being still and the patience. Enthusiasm is still required. Happiness is still required. Joyfulness is still required. Because there's a certain energy that comes from those emotions that brings about it's the battery. It's the spiritual energy. It propels it forward. You can't go about your mission and go about your spiritual work and have a humdrum attitude or have a negative attitude about it or have no belief in it. No spiritual belief in it. No fire. It's no fire, right? Fire doesn't have to be out here going crazy, getting loud. Fire can be quiet. It's how you carry yourself. Fire doesn't have to be loud. Fire can be quiet. It's the passion. It's the spiritual passion. It's the Holy Spirit. It's that movement. It's the enthusiasm that's needed to propel the vision forward, even with the patience. Even if things aren't happening the way you want them to happen or that you've envisioned them to happen, right? Release the control. It's self-expression, inspiring others, self-confidence, totality, success, sharing, a positive response. All right? So really what we're doing here is we're allowing ourselves to shine, however that may be. With the patience, with the turning in, with the being still. When we're interacting with our purpose, we're allowing ourselves to shine. We're allowing our full expression of self to come out into the world. We're letting that full expression of self be the driving force of whatever we're doing. If you're creating, and you're creating with a false persona, and you're creating with false ideas of who you are, then you're creating nothing. It's not real. It's not real. It might be real to the eyes for that moment, but the foundation is weak. And so the staying power isn't there. Spiritual work and purpose and movement requires a certain type of stamina that is developed over time. Because the work really isn't the easiest work. And it's not for the faint of heart, right? That's why a lot of people might not do it. But the work is necessary for those who are strong enough to build the foundation to do it. We want to always operate as ourselves in every capacity. We want to show people who we are. Not that we think we're better than anybody else. It's not about that. It's about you were sent here with a certain light. You were sent here with a certain light. And you have to activate it. You have to turn it on. Once you turn on that particular light that you were sent here with, others see it. And the ones who need to see it and the ones who need to understand it will understand it. And there's healing in it for them. But if the light isn't turned on, you can't see, and then they definitely can't see. Let's do a couple more of my crystal cards. Just going to do 2, and we'll see. We're doing well. We're moving forward. We're pushing upwards. The spiritual work is not I got it, I'm done. Smooth sailing. It's not like that. The energy is continuous. The learning is continuous. The pushing upward is continuous. It's something I might have to do next week. Again, pushing up through something. Learning something new. Implementing something new into my spiritual practice. Learning a new lesson. Implementing that. Right? And so we're constantly learning. We're constantly growing. It's important to know that. No one knows it all. And if they claim to know it all, walk away from that type of energy. Always room for growth. Always room for healing. Always room for understanding. What messages do you have for us, Spirit? We're pushing up. We're moving away from any type of conditioning. We're working to implement our purpose and walk in pure light and to shine our radiant selves, to turn our lights on. How do we bring about that beacon, not only for ourselves, But how do we open up that spiritual light so that others may see it? The ones that need to see it. How do we open it up, Spirit? Thank you. Healer. Spirit is saying that you are a healer. But Spirit is also saying that it is important that you work on healing yourself. As you heal yourself, you heal others, right? Ancient wisdom. You have it. You have the ancient wisdom. You have the knowledge. They already told us here with the inner truth and the awareness. The inner truth is there. The awareness is there. The spiritual gift is there. The insight is there. You are a healer, and you have the ancient wisdom. Spirit is saying that we allow the light to shine by relying and believing that our ancestors have a understanding of where they need us to be. Because it's one thing that we talk about with this channel is working in tandem with the ancestors. I believe in that. That's why I'm here. That's why I do this work. No other reason, right? And one day I'll talk more about that. I've talked about it a little bit on my channel, but I will talk about that, how important my ancestors are to me. We're working with them. When they've passed over into the spirit realm, they're still with us in different capacities. Some are with us more than others. Some are doing other things, okay? Because work still needs to be done even in those realms, the spiritual realm. Work needs to be done. We're all spirit. We're all working in spirit. Different dimensions, different energetic bodies, energetic movement, but we're still working in spirit. They have other things to accomplish. They have other things to do. When my mother moved into the spirit realm, she was a hard worker on this planet spiritually. She did a lot of spiritual work here. Grandmother as well, grandfather. Different ways. Lots of heavy, dense spiritual work. I'm about to tear up. Heavy, dense spiritual work. People who do heavy, dense spiritual work like that, they don't just go off and, they're in heaven or somewhere sipping a martini. Maybe if that's what you want. But normally the spiritual body, the person who's here to work with these dense energies, they continue to work with it in that realm. My mom, she's not with me all the time. I feel my grandmother a lot. Sometimes my grandfather, my great-grandfather comes to me in dreams. My mother comes to me sometimes as well. And I know when she comes to me in dreams, it's time for me to kind of listen in, listening to what she has to say. And she's been doing that for a while since she's passed on. One of the main times she came and sat with me in my dreams when my grandmother was on her way to passing and moving on to the next realm. She came to me in a dream, and I knew that something was going on. So we need to have those connections with our ancestors. It's important. It's real. And a lot of people, I would say for black people, and then if you're watching, you're not black, that's fine too. It's for all of us. We're all human beings. We're all important. We're all special. We're all loved. But I know for certain that with enslavement and things like that, moving into different religions, moving into different beliefs, you start to forget the importance of some of those ancestral practices. And the belief, not just, oh, I loved her, she's in the spirit realm, I loved her, she's going on to glory. There's work that needs to be done. There's work that still needs to be done. There's work that can be done. It hasn't stopped. We haven't stopped living. They've moved on. They haven't stopped living. It's changed. It's changed. The energetic body has changed, but the work hasn't changed. They can see things differently than we can see them. They have access to different line of sight than we have. Even with me being a medium, talking with spirit, even with me having insight, even with you having insight and having those spiritual gifts, they still see things differently. That's why they are important. That's why they come up here with the light and the shining. How do we shine? We shine by acknowledging them. We shine by acknowledging how important they are to us. We shine by acknowledging how important they were in our lives and honoring them, however that may be for you. Just saying, Grandma, thank you. Mom, thank you. I love you. Grandfather, thank you so much. I love you. And so on. And so on. Just a thank you. If that's what you have. An offering if you have an altar. I didn't get a chance to get to the last couple of years because of circumstances, but I usually like to get to the ocean and do an offering, do a ritual, a prayer. If I can't get to the ocean, I like to get to the river, and I'll put together some flower petals, maybe some crystals, and I'll go and I'll pray by the river. These are things. These are offerings. These are gifts. It lets them know that we are working together, that we are still in belief that they are here and they have an effect on our lives. When we shine, they shine. They can still shine, but we have to listen. Spirit is also saying to relax. Relax. The calcite here. And have patience. Again, it comes up. And shift our ideas of abundance. Like what we talked about earlier. The physical abundance, the spiritual abundance. Knowing which is which. Knowing what is going to get us towards ascension. What is going to lift the body, the energetic body. What is going to change the dynamics. What is going to change the spiritual dynamics. That's what I mean. Those are things we need to ask ourselves. Of course, the physical rewards are always needed. They're always loved. That type of abundance, we pray for that as well. We need that. But when we don't have that, when we don't have it exactly the way we want it, what do we have? And can we be thankful for it? Peace.